I mean, what can I say, dude? You know you have a good indie project on your hands when devs are adding main game functionality to their damn demo. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman, and welcome back to the channel. Hello everyone, if you enjoy what I do, including coverage of indie turn-based strategy RPGs and the updates associated with them, a like on this video and a subscription to the channel would be very much appreciated. Thank you so much. Surprise, surprise, everyone! Dark Deity 2 already has a fairly major patch, I would say, that has dropped for its demo, with functionality that I can only assume is going to be added to the full game as well. So really, what better time than now to cover it? Kind of like the lead up to the release of Unicorn Overlord, I do intend to cover all the news that there is for Dark Deity 2 as it drops, and there's some pretty meaty stuff here, honestly. So we're going to go through the update, what's being added, what makes it so good, and continue to build some hype for this title, because I am extremely excited for it. Of course, I will have the link to the full patch notes in the description below. I'm probably going to cover most of this in the video, but if you want to read it for yourself, I welcome you to do so via said link. Starting off first and foremost, campaign customization is live. This has always been one of the coolest features of the Dark Deity games. It's very exciting to see it return in Dark Deity 2. This is where you can actually go into the settings prior to starting a run of the demo, or if you're watching this in the future, the full release of the game, and set all sorts of different modifiers. Turning on or off random stat growths, having things like from the first game, reverse recruitment, or different randomized stats for completely bonkers results, being able to turn on and off turn limits, all sorts of fun options to really set up a custom campaign of your dreams, which is very much inspired by all the different options in different like Fire Emblem ROM hacks and things like that. So it's very nice to see it here, and it's something that you can start doing in the demo. So if you feel like playing the demo over and over again, as I already have, you can add some interesting new modifiers to keep things spicy for you. Now, as far as major content is concerned, we have had 2 additional story scenes that have been added to the demo from the start of Chapter 5, and then a bunch of new features that have been added as well. First off, there's now a codex that explains stats and effects to the player. Of course, a very handy quality of life option to have. We now have the option that I previously mentioned to turn off turn limits for maps that don't have a turn-based victory condition. This is actually a big one, and it's one of the few things that kind of bothered me about the demo that I didn't really give myself the chance to discuss in my first video about Dark Deity 2's demo. But it's kind of weird to have missions that have no apparent reason to have a turn limit. Just be like, you have to clear this map in 8 turns or you lose arbitrarily. Like, I would like to be able to turn that off, and that's probably a feature that I'm going to use pretty heavily with the full release of the game, because it just makes more story sense, and that's what I'm all about, right? Like, yeah, okay, if a building or a dungeon is collapsing around us and we have 8 turns to get out before, like, rocks fall, party dies, sure, totally fair. But if we're just in some, like, drawn-out battle or skirmish, and there's no pressure as to something that's going to happen that would be catastrophic for us, let me play it how I want to play it. Let me have turtle strats. Let me play defensively. Let me draw things out. Find success my own way. Very, very good change. I'm very happy to see that. They've also added the option to select rolled or linear stat leveling when starting a new playthrough. For those of you who are familiar with, again, Fire Emblem ROM hacks, or just some Fire Emblem games in general, this is the difference between having randomly generated stats versus set stats on level up, which I know some people prefer set. I always like RNG more. It keeps things a little bit more spicy, but hey, always good to have the option. When hovering over items, you'll now be able to see their stats or their abilities just by hovering over it. Very standard quality of life option, good to see added. Several menus now have ability ranges added to them for quick ease of access. Enemies that you've selected to have their range showing now glow purple to easily identify who it is that you're actually looking at the ranges of, which is nice. There's a new button to open and close all enemy ranges. This is Y on PC and select/back on controller. This is an obvious feature that I figured they were going to be adding. I saw a few people discussing it in the comments of my video. It's good to have this type of thing just so you can see 100% where is safe if you have a particularly vulnerable character that you want to keep out of all enemy ranges. The devoted class now uses axes, a change that I didn't realize needed to be made, but hey, good that they did it. Weapon type is now displayed on the class tree menu, which is very nice if you're working on building up a collection of weaponry and want to make sure that you like change someone to a class that you're going to have a weapon for, kind of important. Class attack range is now displayed on the class tree menu. There are additional indications for when rune storage is empty. Clicking a player unit with no actions left opens their unit information page. Very, very nice. Just making it a little bit easier to actually get to a character's stat screen, which I always appreciate. And several objectives in Chapter 2 have been moved around, and the boss has been made more clear, which is definitely nice. It was kind of obvious to me where the boss was in Chapter 2, just based on context clues, but I did have a number of people in my comments of my stream letting me know where the boss was anyway, as they had had issues identifying where the boss was, and seeing as how you're on a timer, you kind of need to know where it is you're trying to go before you try to go there. So, all very good stuff. And then there's been a number of bugs and functionality updates as well. Fixed an issue with equipping rings when only one ring is in storage. Fixed some issues with the UI clipping with each other and off the map, which they acknowledge there's still more work to do on, but that is definitely an important one. It's something that I noticed and other people have commented on as well, some UI issues, so good to see that there's some updates happening there. Fixed an issue that allowed runes to be slotted without having a rune to slot, something that happened to me a number of times, which gave me some unintended power boosts. Fixed an issue with shop icons showing up wrong. Fixed a crash in Chapter 4 when picking certain routes. Fixed a variety of visual glitches, which I never actually noticed. So interesting that there were those. I don't know if it's just something that escaped my notice or if I just didn't wind up encountering them at all, but hey, good to see. Fixed an issue with selecting a unit in the elixirs menu, also attempting to apply the elixir immediately. Obviously something you don't want to have happen. Stat ups, very important. Don't want to just select the item and have it used immediately before you have the chance to think about it. Fix the crash in the base menu when toggling between controller and mouse controls in certain contexts. Always good to get rid of different game crashes like that. Fix an issue with weapons and resources persisting through starting a new game without resetting the game. Certain things may still be replicated here, still working through making sure everything possible gets reset. That is definitely an interesting one. Obviously something that's not going to be as common when the full game comes out, but you really don't want some accidental new game plus nonsense either, where you wind up carrying forward like the Infinity +1 sword from the end game into your new game just due to some bug. If it's intended functionality with a cool new game plus mode, then fair enough, but you want to have dev control over those types of things, I would say. And fix an issue with Saxon's Call the Storm not targeting correctly, and buffed the ability, which is actually very exciting. This is an issue that I did run into on my stream, where you're supposed to have like a 2-space range in all directions around a Saxon to be able to deal damage to enemies in that range. And then I tried to do that on a pivotal turn to weaken 2 different enemies I needed weakened, and it only hit the enemy that was directly next to him, not the enemy that was 2 spaces away, which is not ideal when you're expecting the ability to work a certain way and your strategy is planned around that. So good to see that that's fixed. I actually felt that the ability was fairly strong as it was, so I need to get in and actually see what this buff does. But it is a really cool ability, and given how much mana you need to use, 70 out of Saxon's 100 just to use the ability in the first place, it's probably fair that they make it so it really feels like it has the punch that you would expect it to have. Overall, I'm very excited about these changes. It's awesome to see that the devs at Sword and Axe are working so hard on the game, both behind the scenes, obviously, and in a more front-facing way by adding features and patches to the demo to make not only a good demo gameplay experience, but also kind of show us some of the features that are going to be added for the full game by the time it releases. It's kind of like an early access period with a free demo, and I think that's a really good way to continue to build good publicity for your title. So good on the team, good on Chip for getting this stuff out here. I hope that you guys enjoy this update, because I'm certainly really excited to actually get back in and play it for a 3rd time now, which is not something that I can say about a lot of demos. So hey, awesome to hear. If you guys have any particular issues that you've had with the game in terms of bugs, functionality, quality of life things that you'd like to see added, etc., do please add it in the comments here, but also make sure that you reach out to the devs through their Discord and through their bug reporting forums so that they get some more direct feedback on what it is that's happening and what the community would like to see. Overall, I'm extremely excited to see what future updates come for the demo for Dark Deity 2, and cannot wait to get my hands on the full release whenever that happens. For now, though, I'm going to wrap this one up here. My name has been Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a good night. Stay safe and healthy out there. And remember, be good to each other. Bye now.